5 simple but valuable life lessons to learn from the Pursuit of Happyness movie.
I met my father for the first time when I was 28 years old. When I had children, my children were going to know who their father was.
Yeah.
Chris Gardner was doing his best, but his best wasn't enough.
Critical analysis of our individual lives reveals that we all pursue it. But do we ever find it? According to Dale Carnegie, the author of the popular novel How to Win Friends and Influence People, when dealing with people, always remember that humans are a creature of emotions, not logic. We all want to experience emotions, and one of those emotions we all crave is happiness. Hello, heroes, and welcome back to Hero's Shadow, where we take a deep dive into our favorite heroes' minds. If it's your first time here, keep your minds open, because our discussion takes us into a topic that questions a very critical subject that affects us all. In the movie, The Pursuit of Happyness, we see something so common that at some point, we have all experienced it, although to different degrees. The movie focuses on Chris Gardner, played by the popular actor Will Smith, a man whose life was already on the verge of collapsing. In this movie, like many of us, Chris Gardner, the protagonist, also went through numerous hardships, and at many points in his life, asked himself this question: why can't I look happy like others? To get this answer, he dove into a journey, the pursuit of happiness. Later on, this trip turned out to be life-changing for him. So let's know about 6 life lessons from this movie, and hopefully by the end of this movie, you might feel a bit pumped up. Number 1, protect your dreams. This scene from the movie where Chris is playing basketball with his son is undeniably a special one. Chris believes that his son will be average at basketball because he was. Therefore, he advises his kid not to waste his time on it. On hearing this, his son gets upset and is even about to cry. That's when Chris offers him a piece of advice. And if you want to really become happy with whatever you do, you have to internalize this key principle. Never let anyone tell you that you can't achieve something. Get what you want if you want to do something. Protect your dream. Many individuals in our lives frequently criticize or even make fun of us for having dreams. But we shouldn't let all of these draw our attention away from the positive. Instead, it is ideal if we take all precautions to safeguard our dreams. Most times, these negative words are a projection of those people and have nothing to do with you. And for Chris, one could say that his words came from a place of low self-esteem, caused by constant nagging from his wife. As Carl Jung would always say, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. Now, when you receive negative comments such as this, instead of plunging into a path of learned helplessness and deceiving yourself that you can't do it anymore, you should allow these words to fuel your zeal and passion to succeed. And these talks about success bring us to our next point. Number 2. Strengthen your skills. There's no way we can talk about success without talking about skills. Skills are like tools you have to possess on your journey to self-actualization. And the more skillful you are, the more confident you'll be about yourself. In this scene, we see Chris Gardner, who is having a difficult time in the film, inquiring of a wealthy stockbroker about his job, and more importantly, how he accomplishes it. Eventually, he receives a reply that gives him some hope. He is informed that in order to work as a stockbroker, he must be both a smart mathematician and a good communicator.
I'll let you hang on to my car for the weekend, but I need it back for Monday.
Now, despite the fact that he already had these abilities, Chris continued to hone these skills diligently too. In fact, if you've seen this movie, you'll agree that honing his skills was one of the pivotal things that helped him achieve his goals. You see, everybody possesses a unique set of skills. Each skill can become a distinctive trait with enough effort, practice, and resolve. Think of it like Lamarck's concept of use and disuse. The more you work on and with something, the more it gets stronger, better, in fact. However, when you neglect it, it eventually fades. When you decide, like Chris, to strengthen your skills, follow through with your resolve. Quoting Carl Jung, understand that you are a product of what you do, not what you say you'll do. Simply saying you'll do something doesn't cut it. You have to act on it. However, as you act, you also need to be aware that the pursuit of happiness is not an easy one. And that's why our next point is something that should even become your mantra. Number 3, be enthusiastic. Now, even though you closely safeguard your dreams and diligently hone the skills needed to achieve them, there are bound to be times when life knocks us down and leaves us on the ground. We saw the number of setbacks Chris went through before he finally made it to success. He lost his car, his wife left him, he became homeless, he was broke, his business didn't really work out, and he had to look after his son himself. I mean, the setbacks were endless. However, through all these trying times, Chris always kept his optimistic outlook as he continued his earnest pursuit of happiness. This positive outlook eventually acted like a magnet to pull people to him. It was by looking at the positive aspect of life that Chris was able to answer the question one of his interviewers had asked him. Chris's answer:
He must have had on some really nice pants.
Looks at the scenario from a completely different and enthusiastic way, and this is the mindset you have to keep as you go through life. Remember that something as simple as your firm handshakes, "Hello, and how are you?" have the power to take you places. No wonder it is popularly said that a please, sorry, or thank you said politely holds much more power than we think.
Got it.
Thank you very much, sir. You take care. Here, come on. Say bye-bye, Chris.
Bye, Christopher.
Number 4, stop feeling underrated and unappreciated. Chris felt undervalued and unappreciated by his office manager after accomplishing so many things in total at work. We see this in full display by the fact that Chris was frequently sent to get coffee or donuts, or even asked to park the car at important times. Chris, however, kept going. We encounter these kinds of circumstances in our daily lives, which undoubtedly upsets us and destroys our confidence. We need to bounce back, though, and keep our eyes on the prize. Number 5, live a life free of regrets. Let's think back on some enjoyable high school or former school moments. When we achieved an A in any subject, we frequently imagined ourselves in so many wonderful positions. Almost everyone should be concerned about this. How many of us, though, have actually fulfilled our fantasies? For most of us, life eventually happened so fast that we couldn't even comprehend what actually went wrong. You see, like most of us, Chris was also quite the brainy kid while growing up. And this is evident in the fact that he's able to memorize numbers, learn, and even adapt easily. Also, as a child, he had imaginations of a rosy future. Sadly, however, life had other plans. While it is in fact true that Chris had his low moments, he kept on going. He knew he had a son to care for, and so he couldn't afford to back down. He made his son his driving force, and this changed how he viewed life. You see, living a life free of regrets for past mistakes is the only thing that can keep you going. A valuable lesson can be learned from every error, and that lesson is to avoid becoming engaged in anything that could cause problems in your life and make you regret it in the future. Now, let's recap back on the key lessons we have learned from this video. First, in your quest to attain happiness, don't forget to treasure and protect your dreams. They're your drive. Second, ensure you hone and strengthen your skills as they form the vital tools you need to succeed. Third, be enthusiastic in all your dealings. Enthusiasm is a rare trait that although most people admire, they know they can't keep. Fourth, avoid feeling undervalued or underappreciated and instead hold on to the purpose you started the journey. Finally, note that your mistakes are only there for you to learn from and not to become obsessed over. Live a life free of mistakes. Until next time, remain a hero.